On the Pacific Rim of Fire, a world all of its own awakens. An archipelago consisting of more than 7,000 islands, filled with vibrant people and inventive culture. Its mountains, beaches, and jungles are rich in history and biodiversity. Discover one of the most unique biomes on planet Earth. Join us on this mission of discovery through the Philippines as we visit every region of the country and explore their amazing secrets. Today, the Philippines is home to more than 115 million people, 52% of which live in the province of Luzon, making it the fourth most populated island in the world. On this journey, we will explore Bataan, a province in the central Luzon region of the Philippines, chalked with rich character, ingenuity, and stunning landscapes.
Bataan, or this place, is a very, very beautiful place. Very nice place. Of course, I want the whole world to see the beauty of Bataan.
As the sun rises above the horizon, a journey up the mountain is already underway. Small communities and jungle vistas, a group of mountain bikers begin the journey to its summit with their equipment. It is essential that the teams of bikers begin while the sun is still low. Once midday, temperatures can reach a sweltering 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Once situated, the group begins their exhilarating journey through one of the most unique mountain biking trails on the planet.
We're almost halfway through, Gerard, and you and I were just talking about the terrain. During the rainy season, you can't even find these trails. So you guys are basically trailblazers. Can you tell us about that and where we are?
Yeah, so these aren't typical bike trails. Actually, nobody really knows about them. These are like remote farm trails made by the indigenous people that live up in these mountains. They live like high up in high altitude areas. Yeah. And so these are just, some of these are ancient trails that they've been using with their water buffaloes, what they call carabaos here. Yeah. For a long time already. So we use satellite images to find them, plot them up on a certain app, and that's how we get these crazy adventures.
It's amazing. So in the Philippines, what's the scene with mountain bike riding? Is it becoming more popular, you think?
Yeah, especially during the pandemic when everyone had to be locked in except when you were allowed to go out. There was a huge craze about biking and mountain biking. Yeah. So the pandemic actually changed that drastically. Yeah. But usually they just go to known trails and they get dropped off, or they have their own vehicles.
Thank you so much for doing this. I mean, it's amazing landscape, amazing trails, and I know that people that see this, we won't tell them exactly where it is because we don't want too many people here, right?
Nestled in the mountains stands Rancho Bernarndo, a luxury resort and event space that exemplifies the world-renowned hospitality of the Philippines.
This lovely property has been conceptualized by the owner, so it has a very unique character. Alright, if people cannot go overseas, then we bring basically Bali and Europe in Rancho Bernarndo. So this is a combination of villas, and basically we also have our lead-in category rooms which the guests can enjoy. So at this time we have about 20 units, and hopefully by the end of Q2 we will be able to open up 7 more units. So that will sum up to 27. So you'll get to enjoy the lovely scenery. When this was conceptualized, it has followed the terrain of the land, and this is well surrounded by greeneries, in which if you're looking for a sanctuary, then this is the place to be. Very peaceful, so tranquil, all right? And we're open to all guests, families, couples, honeymooners. So we are right now in the Royal Villa, which is the favorite villa of so many guests. Each of the villas do have its own private pool, and we also have our koi down there, which you get to see. Now, what's very good about it, it's because of its intricate design, and if you look at it, it's such an awesome property. Each of the villas are basically equipped with Alexa, which is the guest virtual assistant, right? So anything that they would ask for, it will be through Alexa. For the menus that we have at Rancho Bernarndo, we have one restaurant, but it can cater to any guest that we have. We do offer Asian food. We also have Western food, in which you'll get to have a taste of it at a later time. And in terms of our event spaces, because Rancho Bernarndo is also very popular for weddings and prenuptial agreements, so we do have our indoor event space, and we also have our outdoor event space at the garden, at the Else Garden at the peak, which is giving you a 360-degree view of this entire area. If you look at the property, we made use of natural wood being put together. We tap our local artists, local talents, who have basically put this all together. And we also have a basketball, what was this one area? We also have the tennis. So those are the things that the guests could enjoy while they are at Rancho. And once they go out of the property, the place is also very safe, no, for them to go around, all right, with their bikes, you know, and so on, or even have a morning walk, even going to the town. It would be a fantastic way to enjoy your time in Bataan.
In the kitchen of Rancho Bernarndo, a cultural feast is being prepared by their team of world-class chefs. Traditional dishes and flavors of Bataan, much like the rest of the Philippines, rely on the freshness of ingredients, curated with care and prepared by skilled hands. Each dish tells a story of the history of the Philippines and their global influences.
This is very famous here in the resort. Very sellable and are very fresh stuffed squid, fresh from the sea every morning. And this is our famous native bulalo, bagak style.
We call this an indigenous art of Filipino. We developed this during the Spanish time. During that time, they prevented the Filipinos to carry weapons. So instead of bringing bolos or this knife, they converted into sticks. And they were hiding during this time when they are practicing their crafts. For the Spaniards cannot see what they're doing. They make it into like a dance step, so to cover up. Those were the days that this arnis or stick fighting emerged. In a modern time, right now in the Philippines, arnis, called it FMA, Filipino Martial Art, is our national sport. So they are being taught in schools. We are also in the PNP, Philippine National Police. The first two gentlemen on my behind, as you can see, they are preparing. They are going to make a demo for a tournament, just like what we do in a tournament. They have their battle gear, they have their protective helmets and protective gloves, together with the sticks. When we call this sticks, we call this live sticks. That means no pads at all. These are pure rattan sticks. So they hit hard with each other when they encountered. The winning guy will be who have the best form and hit the best and the hardest. Unang labanan! Basta! Laban!
Taga-oras, taga-hatol, tatlong labanan, harta, laban! Laban! Okay. Oh, atol! Kunwari. Okay, oh, nagpagi. Okay.
A destination in itself, the stick fighters were granted special permission from Casa de Filipinas to display their talents. This truly unique location is a marvel of engineering, historical preservation, and timeless beauty. Assembled from pre-existing structures from all around the Philippines, they are painstakingly disassembled and reassembled here, and guests are given the opportunities to stay in these historic structures.
This resort was recently awarded last year History Resort of Asia. It's one every year they do this contest to choose one of the heritage resorts that represents better the region. They have a contest in Europe, they have a contest in the United States, and they have a contest for all the Asia community, and we won it last year. And we won it precisely because our DNA is based only on the heritage, culture of the Filipino legacy. All our casas, they're colonial casas, they all belong to somebody that was a representative or it was somebody important in one way or the other, to politicians, to generals, to governors back from the Spanish colony times. So some of these properties have like 200 years. And what we did is to disassemble all around from the Filipino islands. We disassembled them, we accounted for them, we put the numbers, we took pictures, and we took it back here. And they were all assembled in different locations, but respecting the original layout. And that's the uniqueness of this project. You know, all the other buildings are constructed in the same style and with the same spirit and tone, which is to bring back the culture and the heritage of the Filipino hospitality in this case. Everything that you see here is constructed by ourselves, and we have over 150 artisans working in the back. We have our own workshops. The metal is done by us, the wood, the bricks, everything that's iron cast is done by us. and we produce everything that we build. We don't rely on anything else other than obviously the cement and the basic construction materials, but the rest is all done by us. And this using local communities. We engage with actually, I would say 80% of our staff, our teams, they live on the other side of the wall, because this is right next to Bagak. Staff lives, this is a family actually, and everybody is friends or cousin or husband or wife or niece of somebody that's working actually here. So we are very close to the community. We are now engaging in recycling some of the materials that we're using. This has been a complex process now because we are still on the construction some of the areas. And we have installed the basic recycle, reuse, and reduce practices in terms of environmental protection. But we still have a long way to go.
The preservation of the Philippines' underwater ecosystems is also a pressing concern.
Philippines is one of the most fantastic diving destinations in the world. The diversity that one can see here is just absolutely amazing. Today we are interested to having a look at the fish life, the reef life in the West Philippine Sea on the western coast. This area has been some time ago it's been damaged by dynamite fishing. And it's great to see that has ceased and it's not happening around here anymore, and we're quite interested to see how reef life has recovered since the seizure of that practice. The Philippines offers fantastic waters for diving, perfect surface conditions in the Pacific Ocean. Water temperature is extremely comfortable, 29 degrees for most of the year, and that makes it very easy for divers to access fantastic reefs and diving sites. We have the most fantastic coral reefs over here with an abundant fish life. There is also quite a significant amount of different critters that you don't find anywhere else that's so easily accessible. The fish life is fantastic, and there's also opportunities to see some of the more exotic animals like whale sharks and thresher sharks and some of the other pelagic animals around here.
With such stunning underwater beauty, it is no wonder that freediving is a popular sport in the area.
I went to Batangas and I started freediving there at my friend's school. And then I said to myself, oh, this is actually good. At the same time, you meditate, you do yoga. It's more like I'm doing the exact thing that I like to do, but after that, I'm also doing a really intense sport. I say intense because it needs a lot of you. But the actual sport needs relaxation. No adrenaline whatsoever. It's quite the opposite of surfing, because when you're surfing, you're like, oh, let's go. When you're freediving, you have to because if you don't, let's say your heart rate goes up, it means that you're not relaxed and you're gonna burn a lot of oxygen that's less underwater time. Yeah. If your heart rate is down, you're relaxed, you're almost feeling sleepy. And that's when the time that you know that you're actually relaxed and ready to go down. If you wanna go deep, say 40 meters, whatnot. The drills I do before the actual freediving helps me wakes up myself, warming up, especially in the diaphragm area where contractions happen when freediving. So contractions are the urges to breathe when you're feeling like you're out of breath. It's like, yes, the crawling underwater or in the pool is a good carbon dioxide building up tolerance. So the more the more you can handle. If I'm doing 4 laps in one go, it means my carbon dioxide is increasing a lot. So there's a lot of contraction as well. But if I keep doing that, it means that my body is adapted to carbon dioxide, and then it then becomes less urges to breathe. So I try to do it every day, because then when you stop training as well, so let's say for a week, you kind of have to restart that.
In its own private bay, one of the strongest advocates for environmental tourism while providing incredible world-class service and experiences is La Jolla Luxury Beach Resort.
Yeah, it's something very special. I haven't done a resort like this. I'm a management consultant helping the owner, and he showed me the property many years back, and I said, this is something good. So he built this, and it's a property where people feel very relaxed because of the environment, because of no trees try to be cut. We built over a tree and it doesn't cut. And of course it's built on the top, on a hill, and you go down to the beach. So it's something very special you don't find easily anywhere. Most people build on the beach. And this is probably the right way he did it. Anyway, this resort is for families. It's a family resort. We just opened the new rooms, family rooms, because in the Philippines, there's a lot of big families. We had 2 pools. We had the family pool, and then we had the infinity pool. And we decided to add another pool for the guests because there's so many people coming in during the daytime, the guests don't feel private. So we add another pool at the top between the villas. So only guests can go there. So that makes a difference, and people feel more relaxed and more comfortable. Here we have an organic garden. Most of the food you ate are salads. Veg come from that garden. We have a commissary kitchen upstairs. That commissary kitchen delivers all the food to all the outlets. And then we have the Filipino restaurant, which is the one, they call it the BB, Beach Bar. At the top here is the mulave. Mulave is a very famous tree, very hard wood in the Philippines. And that will be a Mediterranean restaurant.
As a community gathering place hosting many events throughout the year, La Jolla hosted the first annual King of the Mountain bike race.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock in the morning on the dot. Everyone's coming in from all over the Philippines. So it's a beautiful morning. We're very blessed to have this excellent weather. So what's gonna be happening today is that everyone's gonna be coming over here, get their registration, get their transponders. This is an electronically timed event. It's not a hardcore racing, just like what we're being used to, This will be a race for most of the newbies to come in to experience the culture of cycling in a very controlled, safe manner. So from here, we're gonna go through the coastline, see some fantastic views in a few hours from now, and hopefully you enjoy the event. Earth Day for us, that's it. Today's race is something very different from traditional. Most of the races that is very popular right now, it's really more about speed, fast, like gutting out each other. Today's race is all about bringing people together, experiencing the racing culture in a non-anxious way. So what's gonna happen is that people will start all together and go all the way to the foot of the climb before everything starts. That would give everyone the opportunity to ride with professional riders, experienced riders, and at the same time enjoy what Bataan has to offer. Bataan is has a very unique topography. What's significant today is that we're going to be going on a road that's brand new. It never existed before. A few years back, it was dirt road. It was a dead end. So this was a sleepy town. A few years back, they started to build this beautiful seaside ocean view road. So this is the first time that we're going to be going up there in a race format. So I'm personally excited because I've never done this before. So I came here because of that curiosity to see what that other side of the Philippines is all about. So we want to bring a lot of our friends together, a lot of friends from overseas, to start coming over here and see the amazing climbing, racing, riding, gravel, mountain bike, everything that you can think about. For us, Earth Day is Earth Day. We are here in this place called Bataan. Not a lot of people know this place, but the reason why we come over here is because of the nature. And we want to showcase that it doesn't have to be a special Earth Day to celebrate this. And we believe that bringing people together who love cycling brings back that simplicity in the sport, the basic mode of transportation, that even with a simple two-wheeled machine, you can have all the fun you can have outdoors. But it's all about showing people how to do it. And when there's a story behind it, then people will now start gathering and, hey, it doesn't have to be Earth Day. It can be Earth Day every day.
We picked this course on purpose because it's got a little bit of everything, right? So if you want to get some climbing in, we definitely have that. You get to enjoy the scenery on the downhills, recover. And the whole idea is that people that haven't ridden a lot or haven't been in a formal race don't have to feel that super competitive, I don't know what's going on, type situation, and they can just ride along and gradually come on to speed. And I think this is probably going to be a trend. I think a lot of people that are maybe afraid of getting into cycling or races per se, this is something that they can now ease themselves into and get really confident. Confidence builds speed all the time.
As another successful event finishes, people from all over the Philippines and beyond traverse home. For those living in Manila, the country's capital, soon the journey won't be as long. Soon to be under construction is the Manila Bay Bridge, will connect Bataan to Manila over the Manila Bay, making it the longest bridge in Southeast Asia. For those staying at La Jolla, a testament to their commitment of preserving the marine ecosystem is underway. Environmentalists prepare what is known as a reef bud to be planted on the sea floor to provide a habitat for marine life and encourage coral growth.
Benji, not only in honor of Earth Day, but just preserving the environment, the ocean. Tell us what we have here and what we're about to see.
Okay, this is called a reef bud, all right? It's basically fertile porous rock, all right? It's got organic and inorganic components. Just looks like a piece of cement, but it's got volcanic pumice, you've got calcium carbonate, which is the basic building block of anything that's hard in the sea, seashells and all that stuff. Then you've got activated charcoal, and then you've got a powdered limestone, all right? And all of that we put together. When you drop this thing, since it's porous, it starts absorbing seawater and all the marine life suspended in the seawater. And because there are nutrients in here, algae germinates very quickly. That is fish food. The fish come in to eat it. They enter, they spawn in here. So this becomes the start of a marine ecosystem.
How long does it take for this to get to where fish are coming into it and it starts to progress?
In fact, it depends on the area, okay? But normally, in a good clean place like this, you'd get fish coming in here like in a week.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Algae grows in a week or two, and then you get fish coming in.
So it happens pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is not your first reef bud. How many now?
The past 10 years, 11,000.
11,000?
Yeah, all over the Philippines.
That is amazing.
The biggest one is Boracay. That's 5,000 reef buds.
And the last question for you. Why do you do this? What is your passion?
It's, well, making a mark, you know, having an impact on the environment, since there are not enough resources for rehabilitating the environment. We're destroying it faster than we can rebuild it. So we want to get people on the bandwagon to get to do things like this.
Yes, yeah. Protect the environment.
Yeah, protect the environment, rehabilitate the damaged ones. Like, you know, the corals in the Philippines, less than 5% can be considered as good.
5%?
5%.
Only 5%. Well, hopefully this is a percentage headed in the right direction.
Yes.
Thank you. God bless you for what you're doing.
It's a pleasure.
It's amazing. Thank you, sir. Jen, we're about 200 meters off the shoreline here, the beach side. You're about to do what?
We have to check underwater, see if there's no rocks, because we're gonna drop this and we don't want it to be broken when we drop it.
So we're gonna drop the future reef?
The reef bud.
And are you looking for a particular spot where you're dropping it? What makes a difference if we stay here or if we go down a little further?
Yeah, so what we're trying to avoid is a big surf in the windy days for it to be washed out, and a big current for it to be fully disturbed, yeah, for the growth.
All right, so the reef bud has been dropped into the ocean, but it's at a tilt, so we want to make sure that it is upright. So we're going to tug on it with the boat and get it in the right position. Jen and Calvin will go down and make sure the reef bud is situated so the fish can get in and the reef process starts.
So right now it's pulled up. I want them to slowly bring it down when I go down, so I can slowly turn it around as well. Because right now it's kind of upside down.
Isa pa ikot pa.
Dapat, bataan mo. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Well, Jen, it took a little bit more effort than we initially anticipated, but the reef bud has been successfully planted, right?
Yeah, properly positioned now, and hoping to revisit it in a month, see the progress. Phew.
Without groups and individuals like these, certain species and ecosystems are at risk of damage or extinction. With over 700 threatened species throughout the Philippines, efforts are being made to ensure the plants and animals are cared for future generations.
Rhino, pretty significant where we are. Turtle hatchery behind us. Tell us about what happens from there into the ocean.
But this is actually the most amazing venture in this area. It's run by locals, and this hatchery is also a conservation center. So what they do is when the turtles lay their eggs on the beach at night, they would go out there and they would harvest the eggs within 24 hours before they can be poached, and then transfer the eggs to a hatchery here behind us. They will then keep them under guard there. And I have seen up to 19 nests at one point in time being kept at the sanctuary. And then once the eggs hatch in about 50 days, the hatchlings are typically 50 to 100 per nest. They would then all be transferred to the beach and then released into the ocean early in the morning. Now, since most of the young turtle casualties happens either in the egg stage on the nest or otherwise on the beach towards the sea, what these people are doing are fantastic in terms of giving these turtles a better chance to survive in the ocean. Only about 1 in 1,000 of the hatchlings will ultimately survive because the others will be eaten by predators and unfortunately by pollution. You know, they will confuse plastics in the ocean with squid, which is their main diet, and that would probably cause their death. That's quite sad. But at least there's a much better chance now of that 1 in 1,000 to survive through this venture. And then while they're being released on the beach, they actually program their magnetic compass to capture what we will call GPS coordinates of this location. And once they mature, after 15, 20, 30 years, thousands of kilometers of swimming in the ocean, they will come back to the very same beach where they've been born, and they would there mate again out in the ocean, and the females would then come up on the beach and lay their eggs again.
I have to say too that the Filipino people are very passionate about the turtles. Volunteers helping us out. Can you explain that too?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's totally people with passion. Sometimes these projects do attract some grants from government on a single project basis, but it's not a sustaining practice, and they're totally dependent on donations. So they don't have the funds to actually pay for staff, and therefore the staffing that you see there is people that are all volunteers, and it's just making their life's passion to actually do this. So it is an amazing thing of the people around here who's realized the value of looking after our environment, and therefore for ecotourism to eventually overtake the economic value of fishing and just harvesting from the ocean.
So Rhino, this is exactly what we were talking about. The little turtles here. This is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Tell me about right here, what's happening.
Right. So these little turtles here, they hatched early this morning. So they came out of this nest that were transferred from the beach to the hatchery right here behind us. and then these little fellows hatch through the night, and here they are. Here's this beautiful little turtle, and each one of these will now be released on the beach and guarded until it gets into the ocean, and therefore it will definitely survive the biggest risk in its life, and that's the period on the beach, and obviously before and while it was hatching.
Do you think they're instinctive of what's going on?
Well, the one thing that I do know about them is that that walk on the beach for them, because when we release them, we don't put them in the water, we put them at least 4 meters away from the ocean. That period on the beach that they spend walking towards the water, that's the time when they program in their minds the exact location of their place of birth. And many years later they will come back to this exact same spot to mate in the sea out there, and then to come for the female to come and lay the eggs in the same place where she was hatching maybe 30 years ago or even longer than that.
This one's going to remember you.
Fantastic. It's going to think I'm his mama.
Yeah. And you're saying that these were hatched today?
These were hatched early this morning, yeah. What the sanctuary does is that they will only keep them here for people like us to actually experience them, see them and observe them, and to help with the release. But they will release them by latest noon today, so that they are not outside of their cycle. You see, the thing is, they've got to swim now out into the ocean to get a couple of 2-3 kilometers away from the beach, and that they've got to do as fast as possible with all of the energy that is stored, inside them, still part of the albumin of the eggs. So we should, if you keep them too long, then they dissipate too much energy, and then they at risk of being eaten by predators in the shallow waters before they reach the open sea.
We started in 2020 during the pandemic. Actually, the reason why we started it is because a lot of people lost their jobs, and a lot of community people are looking for ways to survive, and one of their source is getting the eggs, and then they're gonna sell it. They're gonna poach it and sell it. So that's why we built the organization to protect these eggs. So that's how we started. We actually want to not only protect their nesting site, but also their habitat. This year, I think it's more than 25,000 eggs. We gathered more than 25,000 eggs, and then we released 94% of it hatched, and then released it to the wild. We have what we call the Pawikan Rangers, because Pawikan is the Tagalog term for sea turtle. So we call them Pawikan Rangers, and then every night they're gonna roam here from, I think, at least 5 kilometers or more than 5 kilometers just to patrol and look for mother sea turtles coming. And then what they're going to do is that they're not going to disturb the mother sea turtles. They're gonna wait for the mother sea turtles to lay its egg, and then after that they're gonna get the eggs and then transfer it to our hatchery. The eggs will be more or less 100 per mother sea turtle, and then they're gonna transfer it to our hatchery. Then after some 6 to 8 weeks, the eggs will hatch, and then the little sea turtles will emerge. And then after that, once it emerged, we're going to release it right after in the wild. And actually only 1%, and sometimes it's 1:1,000 survived adulthood. Where they were released, they're gonna come back here after some 15 to 20 years or 20 to 30 years based on its species.
Philippine Airlines is very different. Service is called PPA, Buong Puso Alaga. You serve the passenger wholeheartedly, open arms, and with a smile. Our culture as a Filipino, we are approachable. There are very accommodating people, and we always smile, even though we have problems. I enjoy working with Philippine Airlines. We help each other. If they have problems, we adjust. When we serve our passengers, from the management down to the staff, we serve it with whole heart.